and welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lane, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And it's finally summer. I mean, it's everything is like 3 weeks late this year. It's amazing. So spring hit late, summer hit late. I mean, this feels like June, but we really do need summer to be here because that heat is what draws up that moisture out of the tropical Gulf Stream, so that from the south. So we need this to pull that moisture in for us. Right now, you can see that band. You can go to weather.com or into your favorite weather app, look at radar, open it up so you can see New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, and maybe southern Mexico, and you'll see the weather band. You'll see that moisture streaming up. And right now it's over Albuquerque. It slams over Abilene, some of those areas. So it's actively moving there. As soon as it hits the White Mountains, it'll be in that Arizona, New Mexico kind of border area. You know the monsoons are literally days away. And we're not quite there yet. So again, we're 3 weeks late. Normally, we would have some moisture in the forecast. I'm starting to see percentages, 1%, 3%, 6% moisture, chance of moisture. We need it to be in that 30, 40%. It will take off. Until then, your plants are stressed. They are stressed out. And so you just need to keep plants alive. That's all you want. This gap between the spring planting, when it starts to get 90 degrees and above, okay, for you folks up in the Flagstaff, White Mountains, Williams area, okay, if it's above 80 degrees for you all, it's really hot. Okay, if it's high 80s for you, your plants are stressed out. For us in God's country, the center part of the state, the Central Highlands, that's the Cottonwood, Camp Verde, Sedona, Payson, Prescott Valley. We see 90s, and so the plants do get hot. And some plants can actually sweat or perspire faster than their roots can take up moisture. Some plants, your irrigation just isn't enough. You need to give it a little bit more. You need to give it maybe supplement with actually a hose. You remember what that is? Like you put it on a drip system. You've got 2 emitters there. You run it for a little bit, and it's supposed to make the plant happy. It's not. So if you're lilacs, I'm seeing a lot of examples of lilac bushes. These are super tough plants. They got a root that goes down to China, massive. They're very drought hardy, but if they get dry, they start to get weepy. They kind of show, they're just complaining. They're whining about being hot and dry. And so if you were to give them, supplement your drip irrigation with some hand watering, just take the hose out and throw some water on there. Run it for half an hour just at the base of the plant. Put a little sprinkler over there. Let it kind of put a bubbler. Hydrate those, supplement your drip system, and that plant will just perk up. It'll become just upright. I mean, it rehydrates very quickly. Same with, there's a lot of plants like that. So, barberries and potentilla, a butterfly bush. These are all plants that will quickly perk up with any amount of care. All you're doing right now is tiding plants over. Just got to get them until the monsoon rains get here. The summer rains, they're going to come. The humidity will go up. The cloud cover will shade your plants, and your gardens will go, ah. Even your tomatoes, they just won't set fruit as well when it's up in the high 90s. They prefer in that 80s, low 90 degrees. That's when they're really thrive. They're tropical plants. They do really well then. When it gets high, low hundreds to high 90s, they're kind of going, I'm just hot. I'm going to hang out here until the humidity goes up, and then I'm going to take off again. So keep things alive just right now for the next 2-3 weeks, and it will just be a whole nother growing season. Right now, I'm preparing my garden. So I've got some stressed out plants. And you can tell they're hot. I am too. I've got the umbrellas up. I'm like I'm not going out. I'm only out in the morning and the evening. In the middle of the day, I'm in the air conditioning. It's hot out there. And so your plants, a couple things I'm doing right now is to prepare for when the rains come, because I know they're just days away. I'm putting humic. It's Humic, humic. It's a soil additive. It helps the plants to root. And so I'm sprinkling that on my stressed plants. So my lilac I mentioned, that one was a little hot. I'm putting that on there because it helps the plants to reroot. And if you get more roots, you get more foliage, get more foliage, get more flowers, get more flowers, you get more fruits, get more fruits, you get more roots are everything. And if you can help that plant root out, and stressed out plants, new plants that were just put in maybe last fall, this spring, they're not even a year in the ground. They really benefit from humic. It's a granular, it looks like mocha, it looks like coffee. You're spreading coffee grounds around there over the rocks. And when that first rain comes, the plants are going to go, oh, finally, I feel better. The humidity's up there. I don't feel so dry and crusty. It just activates that. So it helps that plant to reroot just immediately with that first rain. If you can, water things. I just mentioned that. Supplement watering. So I've got a little cheesy, like metal spritzer thing at the end of my hose. It just puts on a little tiny fan around. I don't have a fancy one. It's like $4.99. I think I paid for this thing. Puts on the end. It kind of spreads out the end of the hose, so it's not running just down the hill, but it actually spreads out and covers a little bit better. I put that underneath some of my bigger trees. My Chatalpa is stunning. Russian orchid is another name. It's got a pink flower on it. It's famous in this Central Highlands area for a drought-hardy, tough plant that blooms now through next couple of months. If you can keep it hydrated, keep it happy. And so I just went, okay, it's hot. I know I'm hot. I know it's going to be hot. I want this thing to bloom some more. So I just put the hose underneath it and went, here, let me let this run for a half an hour. I supplemented the drip system. I have it all on drip. It's very sophisticated. 8 different valves. I'm adjusting things. I've actually running it a little more often, every 5 days instead of every 7, like I was doing, because it's hot. And so even with that, I'm adding to supplementing my drip system by hand, just because I know the ground is dry and crusty and hot. The plants are hot. And so I want them to, if you want that repeat blooming lilac, so your bloomerang, there's several of them that come back and will rebloom. If they get dry right now and kind of get stressed out, they won't bloom again. If you keep them hydrated and the monsoons come, they'll go back into bloom the second the monsoons hit. So some secrets there, it kind of helps out. And then if you really get some weepy things, so my Japanese maples, they don't like heat. They don't like sun. They don't like wind. They grow here in the shade. They don't want to be exposed to heat and sun. Well, I know that. And I've got some stunning lace leaf Japanese maple. I got 3 or 4 of them. They're in containers. So you got to be more accurate with those. They're in pots. I'm watering them every other day or so. And they're big. They're stunning. They're striking. I've got a purple lace leaf Japanese maple. It's got to be, you couldn't get your hands around it. It's huge. It's in a container, and I put gold oregano down below. So it's got gold and the purple. It's just striking. It's right there by the hot tub. It's beautiful. I don't want this plant to become stressed at all. And so sometimes those lacy or weeping plants can dry out. They can perspire faster than the roots can take up the plants. For those plants, we have a product here at the Garden Center called Wilt Stop. Wilt Stop, it's an anti-desiccant. So it's like sunblock for plants. And so you spray the foliage. It's basically pine resin is what it really is. You spray the foliage and it keeps the leaves from perspiring. This is great for hydrangeas, super for gardenias, Japanese maples, things that are kind of just struggling a little bit. You spray the foliage with Wilt Stop. It's a concentrator ready to use. And it really makes a difference. Every time I plant something new in the gardens, I planted some peppers this week. I sprayed the foliage before they went in the ground with Wilt Stop, just because I know they're going to stress out. There's a couple insider tips. So water better, put the humic on, spray with Wilt Stop, and you can just get them to get through till the monsoons come, and your plants will take off with the first rains of summer. Be right back after this.